Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about flight risk, but before we get into that, remind you guys to please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow me on all my socials, Instagram, follow me on X and Letterboxd. All those links will be in the description below. And before we get into the video, remind you guys that this is a spoiler video, so if you haven't seen the movie, please go check it out, watch it, come back to the video, and yeah. So with that being said, let's get into the review. So Flight Risk, this is the latest film by Mel Gibson, starring Mark Wahlberg, Topher Grace, and Topher Grace plays he's a suspect that is wanted by the mob and is willing to testify against this mobster, and he's supposed to get from one part of Alaska to another part of Alaska, and he has this U.S. Marshal coming with him, and he gets on a plane with his marshal, flown by Mark Wahlberg, who plays he's supposed to be playing a pilot, but we find out in the air, and on this journey to Anchorage, which is where they're going, that he is not who he says he is. In the movie, and it doesn't spoil that, you know, obviously you show that in the trailer and everything, but yeah, this movie, one thing I will say before we get into it is, when I went to this movie, I heard a lot of negative things about it. I heard, you know, people like, oh, it's one of the worst movies ever, one of the worst Mel Gibson movies, this, that, the other, and I was like, oh, maybe, you know, Mel Gibson, you know, he's made some really great movies over the years, and so it probably doesn't stack up to his level of films that he's made, like Hacksaw Ridge, Apocalypto, Braveheart, stuff like that. I don't know if he directed Braveheart, but anyway, you know, those types of movies. And so I went into it with that mindset, and I didn't have very high hopes for it. But there are some parts of the movie where I had a theater, weirdly enough, I had a theater full of, not full of people, but like, it was like more people than I thought it would be. And people were cracking up, dude. There's like certain parts where there was kind of funny, and people were cracking up, like audibly laughing in the theater. And it made the experience a little bit more enjoyable because there was some funny parts in the movie. And a part, like, as soon as the movie opens, you see Topher Grace, he's in this motel, and you kind of get a jump scare. He goes out the window, and it's this weirdly CGI'd moose, and you're like, oh god, what am I going to get myself into? And from that, you know, you see him and this marshal, they have their little back and forth, and it's kind of played off as like this comedy. But as soon as you get up in the air, there's still, you know, cracking jokes back and forth, and then it gets like this thriller, like Mark Wahlberg is gonna kill Topher Grace, and this keeps saying he's gonna do all this stuff to this marshal, and yeah, it becomes like this thriller, like another essentially black comedy in a way, and it's an interesting concept, but I just don't know if it was executed in the best way. Like I said, I had a lot of fun with this movie because of this like weird comedy, like the joking and Mark Wahlberg shaving his head, like that was something he decided to do, which is interesting for the character, I guess, because he's not just playing Mark Wahlberg, even though he is just playing Mark Wahlberg in the movie. But he kind of looks different, and it's get people talking like Mark Wahlberg shaved his head and all this stuff, and so it's an interesting, you know, it would be an interesting idea. I think it loses its tone, you know, partially through the movie, because you get this, you know, the main side where like people joking and stuff like that's coming from Topher Grace, but you kind of plays the same character he always does what he's doing, you know, when he was in playing Eddie Brock, or he's playing, you know, this character from Predators, or he's playing, you know, Eric from that 70s show, and he's playing the same character pretty much every movie he's ever been in. And you know, that's where the most of the comedy side is, and the other comedy side is just purely from Mark Wahlberg, you know, saying some of the stuff he does, and that he's gonna chop up I'm gonna chop you up and it's gonna be good, and he's saying all this stuff he's gonna want to do to the marshal and everything, and it's just a bizarre movie. I did not hate it as much as everybody else did, apparently. You know, Cody Leach kind of ripped this movie a new one on his review. You know, I had a weird fun. Like I said, is it the best movie in the world? No. Is it the best action movie in the world? It's not really an action movie. It's more of like this suspense thriller, but it doesn't really have the suspense. So I say a thriller. Like, are they gonna, you know, they're probably not gonna die, but are they gonna crash? You know, they do crash. Spoiler. I said, you know, spoiler alert, but they do crash. And Mark Wahlberg, he goes out pretty funny in this movie. So, would I recommend it for anybody who's serious about movies, watching movies? No. But if you like watching dumb comedy movies with Mark Wahlberg, then this is right up your alley. This is kind of in the same vein of, I forgot what that movie was, where he's not Two Guns. What's that movie? I'm trying to think of that movie where he plays a bodybuilder, and it's not going to come to me, but I'll put it. It's right here. This is the movie I'm talking about. Pain and Gain. That's it. Pain and Gain. I think. Pretty sure. In the same vein as that, where it's like, it's kind of not. This isn't based on a true story, but it kind of has that same vibe. Like, it's something that could have happened, but it's wrapped around this like weird comedy tone, and I liked it for that, as like a dumb fun, like, watch, you know, eat popcorn, you know, go there with your friends and just laugh at it, this kind of movie. So did I hate it? No. But is it the best movie in the world? Absolutely not. So yeah, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't seen this movie, or if you have seen it, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.